It's the C Motivated Podcast, presented by dedication, period. Yeah. The C Motivated Podcast, boy, just listen to C Motivated Podcast, support the vision, the C Motivated Podcast, of course you hear it, the C Motivated Podcast, presented by dedication, period.
All right, hold up.
Ain't no time to hold up when you're trying to be great. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'm fixing myself, though.
It should show at the top of your screen recording. Does it show that?
Yes.
Boy,
Boy, Connor's recording the call, boy.
we got to. I got to keep everything on tap. You know what I'm saying? But if you're listening, watching the podcast, you should be watching this podcast because it's not only Dedication Period Zone, Connor Moriarty, but we got Canvas Black on the podcast, but it ain't Canvas Black today. We're getting a real inside scoop to the man we know as Charlie Wheeler.
C-Dub.
C-Dub. He's got a story. He's got a story to tell. We'll jump into it here in a second. But first, just like every time on the podcast, Charlie, my brother, how we doing?
Dog, I'm good, man. off of work not too long ago. Getting on this bad boy with you.
Yeah.
Life's good, bro. Life's good.
I do got to thank you. So from the bottom of my heart, so much. Like, yo, thanks for taking your time away from the Xbox just for 30 minutes or however long.
Only for you. Only for you.
I know you be staying busy with the dubs. Still only got me one dub on PUBG. It's all good. I'm not mad or nothing. Because
I'm not very good.
it's all good. I value this, what we got here more. We can always talk. We can go into depth about various topics. But today it's all about you and about the journey you've been through in your 27 years.
27, baby. Yep.
But
27.
I don't know how you want to start it, but it don't matter just because what we got to talk about is so real and it needs to be said. You need to tell the story just so if there's someone else out there going through it or just to show your perseverance of where you've come from. So if it's all over the place, it don't matter because this is your story. I want to hear it. I'll have some follow-up questions, whatnot, and we'll talk amongst it. But please just tell me and the listeners what you got to say.
You got it, bro. So we'll be talking about my heart surgery experience today, man. Never
opened up.
Open heart surgery. Never really, I don't know if I've ever really told nobody in detail, anything about it, bro. Like, people ask why I have it, I answer it. But yeah, so we'll get going on it. But back in 2006, I was 8th grade basketball team.
And before you go any further, all I can remember of Charlie Wheeler from like 8th grade or like middle school is like top athlete, stud on the soccer field, stud on the basketball court, stud all around. So just wanted that to be really highlighted. But
I was an above average athlete. I was not great.
I would say you're one of the top though.
At our school, but I wasn't like.
Gotta rep that.
I was repping. I rep it. But yeah, man, like, I was starting on the basketball team. I was starting on the soccer squad. My whole means to get through college was I was like 100% sure I was gonna go play soccer in college, man. Not on some D1 stuff, but like, JUCO, go get my school for free, hang out, party, meet some women, do all the whole thing. And so, like, since I'm, a 6th grader, middle school, man, that's like, I don't have to worry about my college because that is what I'm gonna do, like 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, like, we'll say this too. So, I was born. I got one lung, right?
Wait. That's not like something you can just gloss over. You're born with one lung. Elaborate.
So
how is that even possible?
I had something called scimitar syndrome, and it was essentially I have a full left lung. It's slightly bigger than a normal lung, and then my right lung. Best way to describe it is if you took a sheet of computer paper, that's your normal lung, and you crinkle it all up. That's my right lung. So it's just a ball of nothing. And then,
Wow.
yeah, and then my heart is on the right side of my body instead of the left. So like, so like we knew that I was just different, but
Yeah.
everything was cool. There was no problems. So, um, well, I always kind of operated at a lower capacity though, from other kids my age in sports. Like I would be going really hard, but then I would be done quicker than everybody always. And so the whole thing that made us get into inquiring about medical um, medical intervention, man, for like this whole heart and lung thing. Nothing ever happened until I was uh, 15. So like from birth to 15, everything's cool. So
Just knew you were different.
just yeah, man. You know what I mean? Quick little fun fact: I found out my heart was on the right side because I do the Pledge of Allegiance like this, and my preschool teacher got onto me. She was like, "Put your hand on your heart." I was like, "I am."
Hey, yo, I am. You
I'm
don't know.
doing
Learn something. You gonna learn today.
it. I learned today, but man, uh, but
But
yeah.
so
So
at 15 years old, you had your first
15,
kind of.
yeah, man. So 15, we were playing. We were up at Columbia Hickman playing. It's me, Evan Schnicker, Andrew Bird, Alex Lang, and we're all out there on the court, man. There's like on the fourth quarter, we're down like 6, and I remember Coach Curry. He was talking to all of us 5 starters during the timeout, and he's like, "Hey, Wheeler, are you all right?" And I looked at the other guys, and they were not even breathing hard. Like this is the fourth quarter, bro. And I'm not kidding, Simo. Like I'm about to go down. Like I'm like, dude, I can't go back in there. And I remember I was like, dude, that's not right. And so like we looked down. I looked down at my hands. My hands are orange and blue, like Florida Gator. Like not normal. So
Orange and blue.
orange and blue, bro. So
And
and of
that's
course
supposed
this
to
is
happen.
yeah. So, and I'm like 15. I'm like, oh, that's wild. But anyway, mom's like, yeah, hey, we need to go have somebody look at this. So we go to uh shit, man. Well, I'm getting ahead of everything, but like, so from that point, we go to like all these specialists. They do all these tests, and everything is good. Like everything is cool. And but I remember right at that time, as everybody's telling me everything's cool, I got super depressed, dude. Like anxiety, like didn't want to go anywhere, and I would just like lay in bed, and my mom would come up and be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm just, I didn't give a shit about nothing, dude. And I was like, this is so wild. And so I'll
And you
never
didn't
forget.
really know. And you didn't know what was truly causing it.
No, there was nothing. But I remember I was super paranoid about everything. I thought I had cancer. I thought like my girlfriend at the time was dead, like gonna die. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. It was super wild. But so we end up going to, um, well, first of all, uh, shit.
It's all good. This is over 10 years ago, bro.
So there's a lot of memories here.
First time sharing it in a public forum too.
Yeah, it is. But where was I at? So, oh yeah, so I'm depressed and all this shit, man, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I'll never ever forget this. I'm out of my grandma's in Greenridge, and I'm on the couch, just kind of slumped, and I swear, man, this was what really made me a big believer, like in God and stuff. I prayed, and I was like, I didn't do much praying, but I prayed, and I was like, God, lift this weight off me, man, because I'm depressed. I hate it. I don't like life. What is wrong with me? About 2 minutes later, man, a Kansas cardiovascular med center commercial comes on TV, and they're talking about blah 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 cardiothoracic open heart surgery, And I swear to God, dude, I just knew. So I went up to my mom and I said, "Mom, I need open heart surgery." And she thought I was crazy, dude. Like, no, like you're 15, you're crazy. That's not real. And I remember
Not only not wanting to believe it, but like, yo, come on,
exactly, like
it ain't like that.
it ain't like that, man. So we end up going to a lung specialist, not a heart specialist, and she did a lung X-ray, and in the lung X-ray, I had the shape of like a scimitar sword, like one of them, you know, Prince of Persia swords,
Kind of like a Dothraki sword or something.
like a Dothraki sword. Yeah, exactly. Game of Thrones. R.I.P. But no, the shape came up on my lung, man, on the imaging, and it's called scimitar syndrome. It's an actual uh, birth, uh, not birth defect, a congenital birth defect. So I was born with it. About one in like 300,000 to 400,000 people are born with it, so it's really rare. But essentially, I remember I had to go in for an MRI because they wanted to see like if anything was, messed up because of this. Um, and so I don't like enclosed spaces.
We're back. I'm not gonna say Charlie's phone died, but Charlie's phone may have died. Notice that he's in a different area at the home. It's all good. But you were explaining. You're explaining. See, I'm trying to say like a dinosaur name when I think of your condition.
Stegosaurus. Scimitar syndrome.
But can you just try to let's
you.
get back to it? It's gonna make for a better podcast name. It's all good.
I know, right? So they do the X-ray, man, and they're like, "Hey, man, we need to see what else going on, if anything," because I remember I was really scared because they were acting super serious, my parents and the doctors, and I just kept asking them. I was like, "Do I need surgery? Do I have cancer?" And like they would not answer my questions, and so I just had it in my head, bro, that I had cancer. Like I was terrified. Like I was 100% sure at that point. I was like, I didn't need heart surgery. I had cancer.
Your mind just went to the worst places type thing.
Yeah, straight up. And so, go back home and we schedule an MRI. So the next week we roll up there, and I don't do enclosed spaces, and so I had them put me out for the MRI. So the next thing I remember, I wake up like in the hospital bed, super woozy, man, like out of it, and I look to the left, and in the corner is my mom, bawling her eyes out, and I definitely knew I had cancer. Like now I'm so sure. So I'm like, why else? And so I'm like, fuck, man. I'm like, damn it. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, well, it is what it is. And so the doc comes and gets me, helps me up, and he's like, I want to show you. I want to show you what we're gonna do. That's what he said. And so I'm like, okay. And so he takes me this map of the heart, dude. And so like I'm like, yo, I've got heart cancer. I'm like, this is the worst you get. So I'm really tripping. And he's like, so here's what we're gonna do. You need open heart surgery. And I remember asking him very snappy, really quickly. I was like, so I don't have cancer? Like in a panic, almost asking him. And he's like, no. He's like, we just need to fix the heart, the what do you call it? The highways, the arteries of the heart. And I was ecstatic. I did not care. I was amped. I was like, this is great. Like, I don't have cancer. Like, let's rock, man. So
You're basically up until that point thinking you were on death's doorstep.
pretty much, bro. Yeah. It's horrible. But then he came up with the little plan. The doctor's name is Dr. Lababidi. He's a Pakistani heart cardiologist. He was on Good Morning America, so he's the man. And then my heart surgeon his name is Pier Antonio Russo. We'll get into him later, man. But he was
It's a name.
He was on some shady shit. If you need heart surgery, don't go to them. Don't go check him out. Um, but
All right.
yeah, don't do it. But back to it. Um, so anyway, man, basically, I'm 15. I need open heart surgery. I'm in eighth grade, and I'm extremely, I'm very ignorant to like, you know, life, medical, I, operations. Like I don't know anything. I'm thinking they're gonna fix up my heart and it'll be all good. I'm not thinking of inflammation, infections, swelling. I'm not thinking any of that. And so I
Or
remember,
would you?
why would I? I mean, I don't know. No, I'm 15, and so I remember talking to my mom and dad. And I'm like, so this isn't that big of a surgery, and they never said no, but they never said yeah. And like me being 15, I was like, whatever, this is not a big deal. But then I remember like I went back to school, and dude, I'm in class, and like Miss Tiaz, the drama teacher, I don't know if you remember her, but she's passing out worksheets in class, and I'm like, damn, we got that drama test, I forgot. She doesn't give me a paper, so I'm like, damn it. She's pissed at me because I missed class. She's like, hey, we heard what you're going through. You got bigger worries on your mind. You can sit this one out. I'm like, whoa, holy shit. Like, it was cool, but then I was like, yo, this is probably something big. Like, you know what I mean? And
At first, you're like, bet I ain't got a test, but then it's like,
yeah,
wait,
man. Yeah,
you're supposed to take the test.
right, dude. And then, like, we got people at church, like, sending cards, bringing over food. Remember Coach Foster in the swimming pool area? He was like, hey, man, I'm praying for you. And I was like, started to look up, like, open heart surgeries. And, dude, it was so much. It's like I was picturing this G-rated movie they were making about open heart surgeries, but instead I saw the Quentin Tarantino R-rated shit. I was like, "Yo, that's what that is." Like, huge deal, man. So at that point, now I'm like, kind of seeing what everybody else is seeing.
Did they give you like a percentage of like what chance, like how, what, like the success rate of the surgery? Did they give you some?
See, the weird thing about my condition is that most people they notice it on the babies like ASAP, and they do the surgery while they're very, very young. So, like adults with this, there's not that many studies out. Um, but essentially, why my hands were orange, and I was real tired. I was running on 70% of my oxygen, whereas everybody else is at 100. Uh, so, by the way, that's another thing. I was like, cool. After the surgery, I'll be even on a more level playing field, and I'm already pretty good. So, like, dude, this will be
About to be at
stoked.
the top.
Yeah. So, like, uh, but yeah, they give me a percentage. What was it again?
Like, did they give you like a percent? Like there's a 80% success rate. You know what I mean? I
Oh,
didn't know if.
on infants, it was very, 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 very high. On
But just a,
adults,
it just was
yeah,
such an unknown
yeah.
realm.
So like,
Yeah.
but what he had told us was it'll be a 4-hour operation. Um, I'll be out of the hospital within 3 to 5 days, and in a few months I would be ready for track season. And so I mean, it's and like
Wishful thinking.
yeah, yeah, man, and um, the dude, even like back then when I was 15, now what 12 years ago, I was looking up statistics, man, and the actual like life to death ratio is so high, very high, um, as far as like success.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man. So
So surgery goes down.
yeah,
You have open heart surgery.
yep.
Something that most people can't fathom. What's the first thing you remember?
Well, dude,
Wait.
hold up. Funny you say that. That most people can't fathom that. So I'm in a hospital room with a dude, um, my age, and he's forget his name, man, but he was in there for he had brain cancer, and so like He had had his head operated on multiple times, and I'll never forget, man. He told me he had brain cancer, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so thankful of where I'm at. And I told him I had open heart surgery, and he said the same thing. He was like, oh my god, dude, like I could never do that. And it's just funny. I feel like when you're in certain situations, like you them differently.
I feel like it's like you take life for granted so much
100%, bro.
then all
Everyone
of a
does.
sudden,
It's
and it
human
don't
nature.
matter what, yeah, it don't matter what you're going through. Then when you are brought with something like open heart surgery, if I think about open heart surgery right now, I'm gonna tell you something's wrong. You might be on death's doorstep, but then you actually lived through it. You had to experience it and come out that back end.
Yeah,
What?
man.
So what was that first? What do you remember first after waking up from it?
I saw my old math teacher Gary Meyer in the hallway, bro, standing in there, like through the wooden door, through that little slit, you can see, like the school doors have. So I
Yeah.
saw him standing there, man, and my very first thought was, I'm alive, so I can go back to sleep now. So I was like, bet. And then, but I do remember I saw him, and then I looked down, and like I just had tubes coming out of, like I had more tubes than I did like body parts, man, like everywhere. And so, but I remember thinking, I was like, I'm gonna go back to sleep, and then we'll get to this. We'll deal with that. But that was the first thing I remember, man. I'll tell you the second thing I remember. So now I'm like open. Nurses come in, and they give me a piece of ice, and they're like, "Here, man," And I remember being a little thirsty, and so I take that ice, and right as I'm about to like start eating it, they're like, "Now there's a 50% chance you throw that up." Now remember, they broke my sternum and cracked my ribs. You imagine how painful throwing up would be. Yeah, dude. So I spit that ice right back at that nurse. I was like,
You have
"There's
to use
no
all
way."
of that to
All of it. All of it.
maneuver, to even eat the ice, to chew. You're like
Yeah.
you're targeting certain areas.
Yeah, man. It's rough, dude. It was
So
like just
what happened? You chewed the ice. What happened?
spit it back out. Fuck that, man. I'm not going down. I wasn't done. There's no way.
But then I remember you because you told me this story before. Soon after, you told me about how you moved or you tightened you laughed or something, and you used your chest for the first time after it or something, and like,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was watching 40-Year-Old Virgin with my uncle, and we watched it like 8 times, and we were dying laughing, bro. And they called it a love pillow, like a little pillow you're supposed to put over your chest and cough into it. And
yeah.
like, I'm so spaced out, like my pillow be on the floor, so I'm like sitting here cracking up laughing, but like literally cracking up, like my shit's cracking. I was crying and laughing, dude, so much. It was a wild ass experience, but no, but let me take you back to surgery to immediately post surgery. So I said 4-hour surgery, 3 to 5 days, right? So surgery was about 9 hours long. In the hospital for 3, 4 weeks, 3 to a month, and I remember my mom told me,
This is after them saying 3 to 5 days.
yeah, this is after the actual surgery, man. And I remember um, we or after, so yeah, so after the actual surgery, my mom was in the like ICU. I was in the intensive care unit, I think, for a few days, a couple days. Um, but they had this. I forget what she said it was. A, it was like a very thick, um, like list of lethal signs, like right after surgery or something. It was a lethal sign list, and she said all of them were checked. Like almost all of them were checked.
So they're probably watching this like, oh, we're about to lose them.
Man, maybe I never asked him that, but very possible. But I remember mom, dude. She She didn't sleep. Like she went through hell, dude. It was so rough. I mean, and Pops did too, man. I mean, shit, it was. I can't imagine what it'd be like for them, but yeah. So needless to say, things did not go as planned. And what had actually happened. Remember, I told you don't go get with Antonio Russo, my heart surgeon. So what had happened was he had a very high death rate at Mizzou, and out of his last 5 surgeries, 3 of the babies died. Uh, 2 lived. I lived, and then some other kid lived. But I remember they let him go, man. And uh, like it was so bad. He fucked up so bad that like we tried to, pursue legal charges, and uh, it would have been a freaking mess and taken years. But like he jacked me up, man. What he was supposed to do was put a pig tendon, I believe, or a pig vein, whatever it is, and connect my heart to this vein to allow my blood to flow um, better throughout my body. Because what had happened was while I was orange and blue, my blood wasn't circulating to my extremities, so it was just pooling, and then it was also pooling on that side of my heart. Um, but yeah, so man, I lost myself. Where am I at? Sorry.
You supposed to get a pig heart. They gave you a normal. They kept your human heart in there. You wanted the pig heart. That's all I got from that.
No, human heart. But no, he put the pig vein in, dude. The pig vein it had collapsed. So like you and any normal human, your blood flows through this huge vein and it spreads oxygen throughout your body ASAP. So mine didn't have that. When he put that artery in, I did have that. It collapsed literally within days, and I remember I was in a wheelchair, bro. 8 months to a year. I had a fever every day for over a year. Um, and what had happened was, since that thing collapsed, I was so weak. Like my stamina, dude, I couldn't walk up steps. Like it was horrible. But my body grew tons of collateral veins, like very little veins, and they do the job of what that pig vein was supposed to. So, but instead of going through that big vein and getting it out quick, it has to go through kind of a loop, and some like windy roads. So it takes a minute.
So basically, the open heart surgery was basically the that was like the icing. That wasn't nothing. The
No,
post surgery was
post, bro.
where it really tested the character.
Yeah, dude. Because like I was saying, I was just like, oh, cool, I have surgery. I wake up, done. Not at all, dude. Like it was, it was super bad, man. Like, I mean, it was like horror movie bad, Simo. Like straight up, dude. I mean, I don't know how graphic we want to get on this, but like,
I want you to tell me everything you want to tell me.
dude. So I remember the first like sign that I was for sure I was in hell. It's like, I told you I woke up, see all the shit. I'm like, okay, we'll deal with that. So I wake up again, man, in the middle of the night. And this is before I talked to any like nurses or parents, anybody, but I'm awake. And so like I've got this button by my bed, and it's obvious that it's a red button, and it's if I need something, I push that. So I'll never forget it, bro. Like just how I'm now on my bed. So it's supposed to be like this, propped up. So I had that gown on, that sheet, and it was slick on the bed, and I had slumped like down to here, and I'll never forget, like my ribs, my sternum was cracked open, dude, and so like right here, it's I don't know, you're more compressed or whatever. Every time I would breathe, I would literally feel my shit shift inside of me, and it was, dude, it's excruciating, bro. It's horrible. And I remember trying to reach down to grab this. button. I couldn't reach it, dude. And I mean, just reaching to grab it, like it's so bad, dude. And I'm literally seeing the nurses outside having conversation, dude.
You're just like,
I'm screaming. You know that dream where you want to scream for help but you can't. That was it, man. And I remember I just started bawling my eyes out, bro. And I was this is as bad as it gets. And it was
you
horrible.
can make it through that. You can make it through anything.
Straight up, dude. Like,
Was that going on for like, so that kind of thing? Was that just going on for a couple days or a week or so? Or was that kind of like
what do you mean?
affecting you for a long time? Like basically where like shit was shifting on
Oh,
you.
no, that was for a long time. So I don't know, month as far as like really
So a
just
bulk of
crazy.
your basically getting through that hell hellacious part and going through just recovering from the actual surgery. Would you grade it harder on you than the actual like year-long process being in the wheelchair, having
That
no stamina?
that's the worst part.
Yeah.
That was the worst part, bro. I mean, so well after that first incident, then the next day they had came in. Uh, I had eventually, dude, got myself back up and just fell asleep, dude. Uh, but the next day is when I saw everybody and whatnot, and so I didn't even realize this, but I had a catheter inside of my penis, you know. So I don't know if we can say that on air, man.
Oh, we say it, boy. We keep it real on the
But
podcast.
so, dude, I've got that going on, and it goes into the bladder. It's in there. And I remember they told me they're like, "Hey, man, you need to go pee, or we have to, or so they what? All right, I'm getting ahead of it. So anyway, I noticed that. I'm like, what the hell is that? Blah 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 blah. And the nurse was like, we can take that out, but you're gonna have to. I'll have to pee. And again, I'm naive. I'm young. I'm like, okay, no biggie. So I remember, bro. She tells me, take a deep breath and don't flex. And I'm like, yo, okay, yeah. So of course I take a deep breath, and, and I see her hand. She's about to pull this thing out, and I take a deep breath, and as soon as I see her hands go back to pull, I flex my hips like I'm doing a squat. I just tense up, and she tugged that thing twice, and it, dude, it's the worst. Can't describe it. So bad.
Try to.
Huh?
Try to.
The worst thing, it's like someone stabbed you with a fucking knife, but in your dick, dude. Like someone set it on fire. It was horrible. Like,
I'm not trying to laugh at your pain. I'm just like,
I
I
know.
wouldn't have expected that. I mean, that's terrible.
Yeah, bro. It was.
So basically, for close to a year, you were living in hell.
Yeah, dude. I didn't. Got super depressed. Got on antidepressants. Uh, it was shit. It was a shit time.
Apart
Uh,
from everything you've told me, I just have some other questions I want to ask you about. But is there anything else we have to know about that whole experience, the recovery experience?
I mean, dude, not really. I mean, there's just incidents and stuff.
How did What was the hardest part about going back to normal life post open
Oh,
heart
bro.
surgery?
Uh, Probably just the fact that I always had a bunch of friends. I was always doing stuff, bro. Like the fact that I was just at home, like couldn't do anything. Like in school too, bro. Like I missed half a year of school, so that was tough getting back into. But just being isolated, man, not being able to do what I want want to do, or just go out and see my friends.
So reflecting on it, what would you say? How do you look at that experience of that time of your life now? Like, what do you pull from it now?
dude, I tell you what, it humbled me in a way. Like, not that I wasn't like some cocky, arrogant prick in high school, because I was, but it just made me appreciate my life, but other people's life too, dude. Because like I remember like me being there, and I'd be thinking like I just think shit sometimes. I'd just be like, I wonder what if like this was my sister and I was her, or like what if I was Andrew Bruce and my best homie and he was me? Like how would I feel? And I just remember like that was like, yo man, like that would suck. Like that's like some shit you don't put on your worst enemy type.
Oh yeah.
Like I would,
So
what I know now, bro, I would do anything in my power to never have to do that. Be last option, ever do again.
it's understandable with what you've told me. So
Yeah, man.
now, also again reflecting, I know you said that it made you cherish life and others as well. But uh, what's the number one thing? And it could be that, but what did that moment change about you more than anything? Just
Uh, it. I would say, dude, I'm telling you that when I say like it made me appreciate life, like, dude, I got home and like I remember petting my dog, and it was like I was on ecstasy. Like I was like this feeling, and then just opening the fridge. I remember touching the door handle of the fridge, this plastic Sears fridge, and I was just like, dude, like my favorite shit is in here. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know, man. It was just something else, and it really made me think of like, yo, I very easily could have died. So I was like I legitimately looked at life like anything from here on out is icing on the cake. It's a bonus because like maybe I shouldn't have even been here. You know what I mean? What if I was one of the three that died? You know what I mean? Out of the five, instead of the two that lived.
so with that being said, I feel like an experience like that will change someone, but it also shows you're here for a reason.
Yeah,
What do you think that reason is?
dude. I don't know, man. I mean, you know me. I like musician, man. I like making music, and if I had to fucking pick anything in the world to do, it'd be that. Um, but who am I to say?
Some of the greatest out there to ever do it in any walk of life have gone through something traumatic. And I would say open heart surgery, and especially the post surgery experience you've gone through, would be considered traumatic in a sense, right?
Dude, I'd say,
So,
hey,
how do you take that to the music side of things now? I've been trying to kind of circle
oh,
to
dude.
that.
Uh, you want to know something, Simo? I just had an epiphany. I think you're a genius, man.
I wouldn't go that far, but I would love to hear your epiphany.
To each his own. But
So, I'll
no,
take.
my man, no,
I'm
but
a wizard. It's all good.
um, so I'm a happy. So after everything, dude, I'm a happy ass dude. Like my life is great. Um, I'm always upbeat, high energy, bro. Like, but you want to know some shit? My music's dark. It is. You know what I mean? And it's not. I don't. It's not about my heart surgery. Like I don't. You know, sing rap about my arteries and shit. Um, but the music's dark, dude. And I'm thinking maybe that's because I mean I've never talked about. This is as much as I've ever shared with anybody. Like, you know what I mean? So like
Is that
maybe
exactly why we had to have you on the pod?
yeah, man. But maybe that's why my music's darkish. Like, you know what I mean? Like instead of being depressed and sad, I put that energy into that music and write it out.
Write it out.
Yeah,
The
because
Kid
not just
Cudi
in
type
music.
ish.
Do I?
Kind of like Cudi does and everything, kind of
Yeah,
just
exactly. And it's not even
uses
like
music as a platform to release some of that
it's all that
negative
energy.
energy, maybe.
Exactly. And like not even the music I have out, but just songs I've written for years. You know what I mean? They're all real dark, bro. Like none of them.
MMVI.
MMVI, yeah,
How about that doctor that fucked me up?
yeah, yeah, dude. Like doctors, drugs, and paychecks.
Doctors, drugs, and paychecks, baby.
Man, yeah. So like, I don't know, man. But I mean, all I know is life's good, life's short.
Cherish it.
Cherish it. Be humble.
Last question on this.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone that is facing open heart surgery in the coming month or whenever, but know they have to do it? What advice would you give to someone facing that monster of a beast?
Dude, if you know, I mean, if you gotta go through that, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. I guess I would just say go through it, expecting it to be a shitty experience, man. Like, no, like seriously, go into it knowing like this is gonna be the roughest ride I've ever had in my life. But, dude, like as far as the operation, good luck. I don't know, but afterwards, the recovery, you just gotta stay positive. And dude, the people around me, bro, like straight up held me together. Like mom, dad, uh, sister. I mean, mom, man, dude, she was there from sunrise to sundown for that whole year. Like literally kept me glued to life, man. And then like just homies coming over and people I didn't even know, bro, coming over like introducing themselves, like bringing shit. Neighbors I've had on the street for like 10 years, never seen them in my life, but like it was all love, dude. So like that lifted me. Shout
Definitely.
out to whoever bought me Madden. Like what was it?
Like
Madden
Madden.
606. Somebody from the middle school bought me Madden 06.
Hey man, he went through hell and back. We gotta get him some fun on the sticks. We gotta
And I
get him back in
I
the
played that
game.
played that
EA
game.
Sports, we in the game. We
Yeah,
back. Yeah.
yeah, we're in the game. So, yeah,
So basically, you're saying, it's gonna be a fucking hell ride, but the grass is green on the side. Look at Charlie, 12 years from that experience.
dude. And as far as like the don't get tripped up on the like, am I gonna die during the surgery? Like, if you really look at the numbers are in your favor, dude. Like they are, and doctors do this today. Like me and you handle customers at GNC every day. Like it's just automatic. Like we are not messing up. Maybe I'll drop a bottle or something and break it like every once in 3 years, like
I
I've
done
done,
it. I done it.
or give like a little bad advice because I didn't know something. But guess what? They've been doing it for how many years? You're in good hands, um, and you can't control any of that. So just focus on that recovery. Just expect to make it out, and then just clear your head so you can get ready to, deal with that aftermath.
I'm not saying you gotta bring us a whole album, but you definitely gotta bring that MMVI Part 2. We gotta get this whole story capsulated into a motherfucking fire ass song. So
Dude, have to, man.
we already got the podcast in. You got to tell everybody about your story. Um, is there anything this is the last chance to let anything else out from
Man,
12 years ago?
dude, I mean, not really. I've just got tons of individual like incidents slash stories I could talk to you about for fucking a year, dude. Because
Yeah, because I remember when I was because you're 2 years older than me, so I didn't really know you till like high school. And like
right,
I said, I remember knowing you on the sports teams and everything, being top athlete, whatnot. But I always remembered in high school, like, what really happened? Like, and I'm not gonna lie to you, because like I'd see you playing goalie, and like everybody be like, "Shit, he could be the best player out there right now for sure. And I remember I always thought like, because I heard you had one lung, I just thought like, it's because he has one lung, he can't breathe out there, he can't be running. I swear that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
But once I found out it was, and honestly, I don't even think I fully understood what you went through till like we had that talk the other day. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
man. That's like after wedding alcohol chat, man, right there.
that's that alcohol. The real come out when you get a little litty. But hey, yeah, for sure. But all I gotta really say, dude, is like, thank God that you're able to talk about your story, and yeah, maybe that'll be a tool for someone else going through it down the road.
Yeah, dude, for sure, bro. I appreciate you having me on. It's always
It's always. Yeah, we got about 45 minutes, I think, in, but a good story. We'll listen back to it for years to come.
boy.
Yeah.
But,
But we remember your phone died 10, 15 minutes in. We still got the beginning part of the story. But I think it's time to cut it. You're starting to break up even, but that's the one and only Charlie Wheeler, Canvas Black. Black Rose is coming soon.
ooh, it is. All right, much love, man.
All right, that's it. Much love, bro.
Peace.